Before this video ends, you are going to realize something about yourself that you have never been told before. Something that explains why certain people keep finding you. Why no matter how much you grow, no matter how much you change, the same type of person walks back into your life. It's not bad luck, it's not a coincidence, and it is definitely not your fault in the way you think it is. But there is something happening inside you, something psychological, something most people never become aware of, that is working like a magnet, silently, invisibly, every single day. This is why you attract toxic people. And by the end of this video, you will never attract them the same way again. Every human being operates on what psychologists call an energetic and behavioral frequency. Think of it like a radio signal you didn't know you were broadcasting. And certain people, toxic, manipulative, emotionally unavailable people, they are incredibly good at picking up that signal. Not because you're weak, not because you're stupid, but because you were trained since childhood to emit exactly the frequencies they hunt for. There are 3 specific frequencies that attract toxic people like moths to a flame. And I promise you, you will recognize at least one. Frequency number 1, the fixer signal. This is the person who feels a deep, almost physical pull toward people who are broken. You learn to earn love by fixing things, by being needed. Toxic people know that a fixer will stay, will try, will exhaust themselves. When you carry this frequency, you unconsciously accept less than you deserve because a little approval from someone difficult feels more meaningful than easy love from someone safe. Why? Because that's what felt like love growing up, the inconsistent kind. And toxic people are masters of giving just enough to keep you hoping. Frequency number 3, the guilt signal. The frequency of someone who feels guilty for having boundaries. Someone who says no and then immediately feels selfish. If you grew up where your needs were called too much, you learned to shrink. And toxic people feel that from across a room. Now here's where it gets really interesting, because knowing your frequency is only half of it. The deeper question is, why do you keep ignoring the red flags? Here's something that will make you stop and think. You've probably heard someone say, I just didn't see the red flags. But neuroscience tells us something very different. You did see them. Your nervous system registered them perfectly. You just felt safe with them anyway. This is called trauma familiarity, and it is one of the most studied and least talked about psychological phenomena. When you grow up around chaos, emotional unavailability, or manipulation, your nervous system doesn't learn that those things are dangerous. It learns that those things are normal. It learns that those things are home. So when you meet someone calm, consistent, and emotionally available, something in you doesn't feel love. It feels boring. It feels suspicious. It feels like it's too easy. But when someone creates the same familiar anxiety, the same push and pull, the same uncertainty, your nervous system says, I know this. This feels like love. There's actually a neurological reason for this. When you experience the ups and downs of a toxic relationship, your brain releases dopamine, the reward chemical, specifically during the good moments. The more inconsistent someone is, the bigger the dopamine hit when they finally show up. This is the same mechanism as slot machines: variable reward, unpredictable love, and your brain becomes addicted to the cycle. You are not weak for getting caught in this loop. You are human, and your brain is doing exactly what it was wired to do. So the real question becomes, how do you rewire this? How do you change what feels safe to your nervous system? That's exactly what we're going to get into. But first, I need to tell you about the one behavior that keeps the cycle going that almost nobody talks about. The one behavior keeping you stuck. There is one thing most people in this pattern do that guarantees they will keep attracting the same type of person. And it's not what you think. It's not that you love too much. It's not that you're too nice. It's not that you care too much or that your empathy is the problem. It's something else entirely. The real issue is over-explaining. You keep explaining yourself to people who were never going to understand you. Let me say that again. You keep explaining, justifying, proving your worth to people who were never genuinely confused about it. They just made you feel like they were. They weren't confused. They were calculated. They knew exactly what they were doing. They just used your desire to be understood as a weapon. They feigned confusion to keep you talking. Every time you over explain, every time you try to make a toxic person understand your pain, you are handing them the manual to manipulate you more precisely. You are literally giving them the blueprints. You are teaching them exactly which buttons to press, exactly which wounds to reopen, exactly how much to give you to keep you from leaving. It's a systematic exploitation of your vulnerability. Why do we over explain? Because somewhere deep in your psychology, you believe that if they just understood, they would change. You're holding on to a version of them that doesn't exist. They would finally see you. They would give you what you need. But that change is never coming. But here's the painful truth. Toxic people understand you perfectly. They understood your fears, your needs, and your triggers. They use that knowledge to stay in control. They just don't care in the way you need them to. Their goal isn't connection, it's compliance. And the moment you stop explaining and start simply observing, everything changes. You see the lies, the inconsistency, the guilt tripping for what they really are. Observations, not arguments. What does that shift actually look like in real life? That's part 4. And honestly, this is the part of the video I most wanted to make. Stay tuned for real change. Rewiring your nervous system is not about reading affirmations in a mirror. It's not about manifesting better people. And it's not a fast process. But it is a very specific process. And it starts with one radical shift in how you see yourself. Step 1. Stop diagnosing, start deciding. Most people spend years trying to understand why they attract toxic people, and understanding has value. But it can also become a trap. At some point, understanding becomes a replacement for deciding. Deciding that the pattern ends here. Deciding that your peace is not negotiable. Deciding that love is not supposed to be this hard. Step 2. Learn to tolerate calm. This sounds almost too simple, but it is the deepest work. If your nervous system was wired in chaos, calm will feel uncomfortable. Safe people will feel suspicious. Healthy love will feel like it's missing something. The rewire happens when you practice staying in calm. When you notice the discomfort of peace and stay anyway. When someone treats you consistently well and you resist the urge to test them. Step 3. The 24-hour rule. Before responding to any emotionally charged situation, wait 24 hours. Toxic dynamics survive on urgency. They need you to react now. They need your emotions running the decisions. When you introduce time, when you give your prefrontal cortex, the rational brain, a chance to catch up, you will almost always see the situation completely differently. Step 4. Redefine what love feels like. This is the most important one. Write it down if you need to. Love is not butterflies from someone unpredictable. Love is consistency. Love is someone who behaves the same way on day 300 as they did on day 3. Love is not exciting because you're afraid to lose them. It's calm because you know they're actually there. If you have never experienced that, the work is learning to believe you deserve it. Not to earn it, not to prove it, but simply because you are here. The rewire isn't just what you feel, it's who you become. Live it, protect it, share it. I want to leave you with something. Toxic people are not the problem. They are actually the symptom of an unhealed relationship with yourself. And that is not an accusation. That is the most hopeful thing I can tell you. Because you cannot change other people. You cannot control who tries to enter your life. But you can change what you're available for. You can change what you tolerate. You can change what feels normal to you. And when you do that work, genuinely, deeply, patiently do that work, you don't just stop attracting toxic people. You stop recognizing them as home. You become someone who doesn't need to be fixed by love because you finally know how to offer it to yourself. If any part of this video felt like it was written for you, that's not a coincidence. This is exactly why this channel exists. If you want to go deeper, my next video is going to cover the 4 attachment styles and exactly which one makes you most vulnerable to toxic patterns. Subscribe so you don't miss it. And if this reached something in you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Quietly, without explanation. They'll know why.